Yikes.
Hi, everyone. So I just want to welcome you in or welcome you back. We are doing the last conversation for the Daughter Heal virtual book tour. My name is Bernadette Jackson, and as you can see, I am with several ladies tonight. So I'm really excited about this conversation. But before we get started with introductions, I just want to let you guys know that I'm really excited about the upcoming book launch party that we have going on. The conversations that we've been having have been really amazing. And I am looking forward to what this book is going to be doing for the community. It is my desire to make sure that women who have fractured father relationships understand that they can have amazing relationships, that they can have communities that support them, that see them, that, like really pour into them, that they can have the desires of their heart without them having to be fearful, without them having to not be authentic rather. And so it is just our desire tonight to really talk about like what it is like to have a coalition of friends, of support, of loved ones who are around you, who see you, who support you, who really understand who you are and who champion what you would like to show up as. So this conversation tonight is going to be about who's in your coalition, and I am going to pass it over to Fiona to introduce herself before we get started.
Oh, well, first of all, I want to thank you for having us on your platform and congratulations on your second book. We are
Thank
so
you.
proud of you. I am Fiona Michelle, the owner of Legendary Womanhoods, which also oversees the brand Tea Talks. And we have some of the ladies here with us this evening from the Tea Talks conversations, where we discuss anything and all things that impacts a woman's ability to be her authentic self. So again, thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you. What about Nina?
Hi, everybody. As Fiona said, I am definitely part of Tea Talks. Um, I am a holistic wellness coach, mind, body, and soul healing for women, just empowering them to take care of their mind, their body, their soul with faith and healthy eating and all the things that's holistic approaching to being a whole and our authentic selves.
Tashai?
Having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tashai, and I am the founder of PTO Lifestyle, which is a travel and lifestyle company encouraging women to live a PTO lifestyle, which means plan travel often, not paying time off, and build a life that you enjoy every day with meaningful memories. So, again, it's a travel and lifestyle company. And Bernadette, thank you for having us on your platform.
I really appreciate you ladies being here. So, as they said, they are the members of Tea Talks, and I have listened into quite a few of the conversations that they have. And I always like the banter back and forth. I can really tell that there's a connection there. There's definitely some history as to how these ladies got together. So, I'm just going to open up the floor for any of you to let us know how you became acquainted and how did you come upon this friendship that you guys have that is so apparent that, you guys are really thriving in.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for seeing that is a very authentic friendship that we were able to develop. It just so happens a couple of years ago, I think we all kind of found ourselves praying for something different in our lives to occur. And we all just happened to find a coach where we all signed up for the same coaching program. And it was about 150 of us in that coaching program, and it was a very and powerful experience that really helped us to start looking at ourselves and things that we needed to or wanted to change, or that we areas that we wanted to grow in. I think the first person I actually met in the group was Shy. It was at a point, I think we both decided at a point that we wanted to learn more about God, more about the Bible, and wanted to study the Bible. And in one of our small groups in that coaching program, somebody just happened to mention that, we wanted to do Bible study. And Tashai said that she wanted to do it as well. And I'm like, hey, I'm definitely down for that. And that's where our connection pretty much started, from studying the Bible together and kind of talking it through with one another, and allowing each other to get a better understanding of the Word of God and how He's speaking to us and how He's utilizing us. And from that, Tashai introduced me to Miss Tina, and she became part of that group as well. And Nina, I met her also through the group. I don't even remember exactly how me and Nina met. It may be because I think one time I was visiting Chicago, and I think I put something out that, hey, who lives in the Chicago area? And Nina responded, and me and my daughter, we went to Chicago. We actually met up with Nina. We had lunch. We had a great old time with her, and my daughter automatically donned her as one of her aunties. And, we kind of came back, and, she kind of reached out to me afterwards. She was like, she feels she needs more of a connection on this entrepreneurial journey. She needs a group of ladies that could really help her stay motivated. And that kind of, I'm like, girl, I'm with you. I need it too. And I have these two other ladies over here. How about we all just get together? And, that actually started us all studying the Bible together, all studying the Believing Bigger journal, which is by one of our other sisters. So we was using that journal to kind of study and improve ourselves. And it just kind of formulated from there. Do you ladies have anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you explained pretty much everything. And it is funny how we met. And I just remember for Tina, we were actually on the Bible study, and I don't remember what was said. I think I spoke up and you reached out to me, or you spoke up and I reached out to you, and we had this one conversation. I was just like, oh my God, this girl is amazing. She has so many ideas. She wants to make jewelry for me. Remember that conversation? We just hit it off after that. So it was just really great to see how we all connected differently, but it came together where we, we're just a tight bunch, and we were just vulnerable with each other. I think that was the best part about it.
And I think to chime in I'm sorry, Tina, but to chime in is I think all of us learned about each other being introverts.
Yeah.
So being able to ask for that help or ask for that reach out was, to me, like a big connection for all of us, because it was like, I'm a Lone Ranger, you know what I'm saying? And so when I think after the Chicago visit, Feet checked on me, and I was just like, I'm kind of going through this again alone stage. And she was like, join the group. And immediately Tina and Tashai inboxed me and was like, welcome. I hadn't even met them yet. I mean, in the group, but it was just like a come on in, and I think from that moment it just felt so authentic and natural. Natural. It was nothing like, you had to, it was just like instantly. So
I love that.
I was gonna say that the three of them have taught me how not to be afraid to cry in front of them. It's been a struggle, because they'll tell you my trust factor and me opening up, and me, like when I was going through some heaviness, I would just disappear and figure I got to go through this on my own, because I was so used to not having female friendships that would look for me, that would hold me accountable, that would like
pray
over me. Like I wasn't used to that, and I was actually afraid of that, very much afraid of that, because they was like, what's up, talk to us, da, 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 da. And I think Fifi and Tosh would be like, don't let me have to come up to New York and like so they were the first that really had me learn how to trust female friendships, like which is something that I never could do because of being bullied and all that stuff. So female friends was like, nope, that's okay, I'll roll by myself.
Yep.
but they pulled me out of that big time. Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, Bina. No one got a chance to really hear who you were. So if you can just introduce
Oh,
yourself, and then we're going to jump into the
sorry.
conversation. Yeah, no problem.
Like, who are you?
It's me. No. Hi, everyone. Bernadette, thank you for having us. Congratulations on the book launch, the second book. I'm
Thank you.
excited. I can't wait to party in a couple of weeks. I am Tina Maria. I am an artist, a designer, and a creative lifestyle advocate. I've just started a community, which I'm excited to really dive into, called Creative Inheritance. I'm also the founder, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the founder behind my new brand, Mina and Ria in New York. I'm starting with the jewelry, and yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know what else to say.
No, you're good. That's good. Okay, so let's dive in, because Tina Maria, who I affectionately call Bina or Art
Yes,
May, is
everyone
one of
does.
my
Yeah.
really good friends. And the reason why I wanted to have a conversation like this with, like, a collective, a group of friends, or a coalition rather, is because I wanted for us to really be able to see like what it's like on the inside of friendships where, like, intimacy is thriving, where there's vulnerability, where everyone is showing up authentically, and where everyone is able to support one another and celebrate when we have wins in our lives, in business, in love, and such, right? So I am really happy that the ladies of Tea Talks have, just graciously accepted my invitation to come on for the last conversation that we're having in this series. But I want to amplify something that Tina Maria was saying about not having female friendships that really showed you or inspired you to want to, like, engage with women,
Right.
and I really feel like that's something that we need to stay on a bit, because a lot of us who have experienced relational trauma can tell you stories upon stories upon stories of putting yourself out there, of showing up for people the way you want them to show up for you and not have it be reciprocated, of just like being in what you think is a friendship with somebody, or a relationship with somebody, or whatever it is that you would want to call it, and there not being any kind of mutual benefit, that you are doing what you would like to have to experience, right? You're showing up for the person, you're supporting them, you're celebrating them, you're thoughtful about, like, how you speak to them, how you pour into them, and the like, and you're not receiving any of that on the back end. Or you have what Bina may have experienced, where, people are being catty, or they're, saying things about you to your face or behind your back, or they're making slick comments about things that you may have accomplished and all this stuff. And you realize that, hey, I am actually in a friendship with somebody who doesn't really like me. You know what I mean? Who may be threatened by me, who is, not caring that I might be going through something right now, or who wants to try to, needle me when I'm down, or whatever it is. And a lot of us don't understand sometimes that the friendships that we're a part of, the friendships that we may be holding on to for dear life, are not serving us in any way. They're just not. And so you're thinking like, okay, I'm loyal, I'm going to show up for this person. I'm going to continue to show up for this person. And this person is not doing anything to indicate to you that they really care about preserving the friendship in any way. And so when I think about who's in your coalition, these are some of the things that I think about. How do I feel when I'm with this person? What do they bring out in me when I'm with them? Because if I'm reverting back to old behaviors, if I'm being triggered often by them, if I'm upset when I leave their presence, if I'm feeling down or depressed or irritated or all the things every single time I'm with them, something is wrong. Something is wrong.
Or if you're shrinking, and
Right.
walking on
If I feel
eggshells,
like I can't be my fully expressed self,
Right.
because I'm going to upset you, or I'm going to, like throw you off, or there's going to be some dig or some kind of comment that you make to try to bring me down.
Right.
Are we really friends? Like, can
Mhm.
you really be a part of my coalition? No, you
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
But this conversation is really important because I just feel like so many of us have these kinds of friendships and we don't even realize that the people who we are trying to build community with are not people who are really in our corner,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I want to kick it over to any of you ladies in the group where if you can share a time where you realize like this is okay, this is really not a friend. I don't know what I was thinking, or I stayed here too long, or this friendship is past its expiration date, whatever it is. Think back to a story like that and let us know what was the moment where you realized that, okay, I have to exit this friendship or something needs to drastically change for us to continue? And what did you end up doing?
Mm.
Y'all want me to call on you? This is not
I,
class.
Look,
I could definitely speak.
Well, they
on
know
that.
I always
I
go
am
loud.
here thinking
Okay, go ahead.
because I have a lot of friendships, right? But then obviously there's different levels to that as well, whether it's an associate or a real friend or friends you've grown up with, etc. But because of how I grew up, and this is very important as well, is that I didn't trust people. And Tina spoke about how she didn't really trust females. It took me a long time. Like I always had my one eye open on people, you know? Like I was very careful about who my friends were. And there was a time where, because I grew up in a big family, we were taught, at least my perception of what we were taught is that we really didn't need anyone.
Mm.
So I had my friends, but I didn't, how can I word this? Like, not to say that I played them loosely, but again, like I had my one eye open that, if I saw that they weren't the friend for me, then they would easily, no longer be in my circle anymore. And I honestly didn't let everyone in to my intimate circle like that as well. There was just a handful of people. So I'm here trying to think of a time, but I'm like, I weed people out so quickly, right? And yeah.
So talk through your process of weeding people out. Talk through your vetting process then, because it's clear that you have a vetting process. So what are some of the things that you
but
think
you know what?
about?
I haven't had to really, have I had to vet recently? Kind of, yeah, kind of. If yeah. My circle is tight.
So you're coming back to yourself. Yes. Oh, I did do that.
Yeah, my circle is really tight. So, this would be more like in my college days. And when I first moved here to Florida, I was always kind of a loner. Who spoke about that? I think that was neat. Like I was always kind of a loner where I had friends, but everybody was so spaced out apart. So those that I let into my circle are the people who either knew me from when I was younger or those who I've had a connection with because I am an introvert. So I can't really, I don't feel comfortable around everyone all the time. So those that I let into my inner circle are those who now I can say that I can be vulnerable with, I can share with, and not feel like they're judging me. I can say like, hey, I have anxiety, and they now understand what it is. Before, I never really told anyone about that. Who knew about it was my inner circle, those who are on the call right now, and maybe a few other people, but not everyone could understand that. So I would say that when it comes to my vetting process and those who I consider my true friends are the people who I can truly be vulnerable with and not feel any type of way about it. And I have a good amount of friends that I can say that I can do that with now. So I always, like I said before, and I don't know if it sounds right, but I kind of played people loosely.
But I can definitely appreciate what Tashai is saying because Bernadette, when you asked the question, instead of actually looking outward at other people, I was thinking of who I was.
Yes.
Because of my own experiences with trauma, whatever the case may be, I just took it upon myself that all I needed was me because I was the only person helping me to begin with. That's the storyline I told myself. So whoever came along, they came along. And yeah, there were some people within that time span that clearly I'm just like, yeah, you just a little bit too messy for me. That's a bit too much. So I know I can't rock with you. But then there were other people that it wasn't until I started my healing journey that I realized these people are really valuable people.
Yes.
And it was me that was causing the barriers in our relationship because I couldn't be vulnerable, I couldn't be transparent. They didn't really know who I was. They didn't know how I was hurting. You know, all they saw showing up was a strong person.
Yes.
Who seemed like they were handling everything. But when they were gone, I'm crying. I'm like, God, help me. I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore. You know, I'm going through anxiety. I'm dealing with depression. And it's like nobody knows. So I feel in a lot of ways that I was that person who was, you know, not showing up well in these friendships because I was struggling. I was struggling with self-love. And if you don't love yourself, how can you really love somebody else or receive love from somebody else? So it wasn't until I got on my healing journey and I started working on my self-love that I could appreciate what these ladies were pouring into me. And when I did an inventory of who else was in my coalition, I was like, these people have been showing up for me like
all this time. Yes.
I had to kind of go back to some of them and say, hey, can we have a conversation? I want to reintroduce myself to you and let you know who I am for real. And I also want to thank you for all the years of sticking by me and my messy self. I mean, I was a mess and they were always there. So that's what really came to mind when you posed that question.
And that's good, Fiona, because I feel like a lot of times when we think about the demise of a relationship, or we think about like what we're not getting in a relationship, we are looking at the other person and what they're not doing. And sometimes we need to be looking at what it is that we're giving off. You know, what are we allowing, or maybe what walls we have up. And when we decide that, you know, we want to have something different, we need to start taking ownership of the actions that we have played in the relationships that we are a part of. We need to start taking inventory of some of the responses that we have had to situations, you know, the ways in which, you know, we may be triggered and, you know, like what we're giving off as a result of that and all of these things. Because the thing that really started me on my healing journey was the fact that the Lord told me that I was the common denominator in all of my failed relationships. It was me. I was the problem, you know? It was me. And it was like, though I could say that this person did that and, they were unkind, or they were, unattentive, or, they took me for granted, or whatever it was, I was allowing that. And not only was I allowing it, I was also wanting to prove that, whatever it was that they were giving me was okay. And it wasn't until I started to really understand that my worth didn't have anything to do with the experiences that I had or what I had gone through before or anything that I may have done previously. I started to think about, well, what kinds of experiences do I want to have? And in the experiences do I want to have, like, who am I always thinking about in terms of who I would like to share that with? Because your heart knows. Like, sometimes your mind may not be able to like fully express what it is, but your heart, is drawn to people who really see you, who like really make you feel comfortable, and the people who you feel at home with, where you don't have to be putting on airs, you don't always have to be your best self. You can show up vulnerably, you can show up broken sometimes, and these people will show up and they will support you and they will hold space for what's going on. So I really love what you said, Fiona, because I think that it does require a bit of self-awareness for us to really understand what part we play in relationships and whether or not that part is something that we want to keep doing, because whatever it is that we're doing in relationships is going to continue to yield the result that we're having. And if we don't want that result anymore, then we have to start to do some inventory about what it is that we're doing and how do we need to change in order for us to get to the experiences that we want. So I would love for Bina or Nina to let us know, like, one experience that you had where you just knew that this friendship that you had been holding on to for a minute, you could no longer hold on to it because it wasn't what you wanted to experience anymore.
So I will speak to the fact that I am totally opposite than Tashai. I am, well, I'll say. I gave trust before it was earned, which led to me always being the overextender, which also led to me being a people's pleaser. And although I was the one who always showed up, I do recognize and realize that I never was the one who also burdened people with my problems.
Right.
So they never got me, but I was always there for them.
Yep.
So I when I look back, it's like, okay, well, how can somebody show up when you're actually not even telling them maybe what's going on? But the friendships that I realized that I did not need is when I can come and I get nothing. I can sit at a table with you and eat, and I get nothing that I need out of it. Me meeting up with you to go to ladies' night, and we leave, and there was nothing besides trash talk or the conversations that I wasn't willing to have anymore.
Yeah,
right.
It led me to say this is not what I want. But also me being an introvert was like, how do I find what I want? And so I had to start to pray, and then I became really an introvert, and it's like all just to be about my family and a few people in my family. But I started to pray, and I was led to Patrice in actually like 2017 when she had first started her podcast, and it took me years to join her coalition. And I was like, I don't know, I was going through the motions, and then maybe at the time I wasn't healed, I wasn't ready to take on the friendships that God will bring to me. So I had to go through the process of finding out who I was, what I needed, like you said, having time enough to say, what exactly do I need in a friendship, and what do I want to bring to the friendship? And although, like, we still have a group, and we used to meet all the time.
Hello, don't get me started on here. Don't get me started.
We're overdue.
Even though it has slowed down, it's nothing for me to now throw in a group chat, pray for me, pray for my daughter, pray for this, pray for that, and know it's actually going to be prayed for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so even though I'm not, like, we're somewhat still introverted when it comes to a lot of issues, I've learned how to be vulnerable. I've brought the conversations, things that I didn't do before, that's important to me because of the fact of feeling judged.
Yes.
And so when you put yourself out there, you have to realize that you could get judged for this, or people will look at you differently if you say certain things. But in this friendship, I really have no feelings of being judged at all. And that was one of the things that I've looked for in friends, is that, like, can I put this out there and they will actually give me the good advice? They'll know when you're not actually showing up, or when something is actually not, are you really, what? They'll hold your foot to the fire. Why haven't this been? And I told them, like, this last few months, I've been self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
And they were like, and I was just like, I'm not having a pity party about it. You know what I'm saying? But they'll still tell you, like, let's move it along. And, so I love that about them. But I've learned how to just, stop being so trusting. And I hate that about me, because I am very trusting.
But
and we should.
It was trusting
I
the
don't
wrong
want
people.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Because I don't want us to say any part of us is not, because again, that's who God created us to be. And that quality in us is so important, whatever the quality is, being an empath, whatever.
Right.
But you have to deliver it to the right people.
And that's what it was with me, where my trust factor, it was kind of like, I don't know if it was contradictory because, like Nina, I was a people pleaser and I was over giving, I was over nurturing, I was being strong for the wrong people. I was
For the
pouring
wrong
into
people.
the wrong
Yeah.
people, and I was like, like Fifi said, Nina and I, we trust because that's our heart.
Mhm.
My heart is full of love. I was
Right.
just pouring love into the wrong people. I love love.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I love peace and harmony, and but love is my biggest thing. So loving into the wrong friendships, into unhealthy
Hmm.
friendships, into stagnant friendships. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying those people are bad people. They just not the people
My
for me.
people.
Right.
They're
Right.
not my tribe. They're just not my tribe. And I realized that many mistakes was thinking I could make coworkers friends into my personal life.
Mm.
And no, can't do that. Um, and it was just when somebody right on the floor, this is before COVID, she was going through something really, 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 really bad. And I was doing a typical thing because I know what pain feels like. I know what feeling rejected looks like, feels like. I know what feeling unheard and unseen. So I kept doing over, over, let me try to take away this person's pain or not have this person
Mm.
feel like they're alone.
Mhm.
And out loud on the floor in front of everybody, she was like, "You're so effing annoying. You're so effing annoying. And it's just getting on my nerves." And my face turned so red
Wow.
and my eyes got watery.
Wow.
And I was just like, I was just checking.
Mm.
Oh,
And she was
yeah.
like, "Leave me alone. You're
Mm.
effing annoying." And then I heard somebody else be like, "Well, she's just too, that's what happens when you're just too nice." And I turned around and I was just like, right there, I was like, never again,
Mm.
never
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
never. And that's how I knew, like, and then COVID hit and I was like, yes, I don't have to be around. Like, I was psyched. I was like, the introvert in me was jumping for joy. Um,
Now you can go in hiding.
yeah, exactly.
Can't
I was
hide, not
turning.
from us, maybe from the rest
I
of
was
the
about to say,
world.
and then
Right.
you met
Yeah,
us.
yeah, and then I met my sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are truly my god sisters. Like, all of you are my god sisters, and it was like each and every one of you. And there's two others that are not on this call, but they're from our cohort, that we graduated together with, and they keep me in line too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the seven of us, like, because of all of you ladies, the four of you and the other two, is where I was just like, you replaced a lot of people that God in 2020, he was like, they just dropped off the face of the earth. Like, there
Mhm.
was no argument because God knows I can't take conflict. I can't take argument because I stutter and I get nervous and I'd be like, pew, I'll disappear. Like, I'll just disappear. But
Yeah.
he knew. He was like, he removed him in a matter of weeks. It was as if we didn't exist in each other's life. And then
Yeah.
here comes the following year, all of you guys come, and out of the group that we were in together with P2P, it narrowed down to the four of you and the other two that I stayed connected with. Um, and it was just like that was it. Each and every one of you replaced the many people from over the years of friends that I thought were my friends. You know what I
Well, you
mean? Or I
know,
was trying to make my friends.
right.
Mhm.
And
Um,
the beauty in that is the fact that what I found for myself is that, yeah, there was a lot of loss and you had to grieve that, but the way you ladies pour into the love tank, the support tank, the whatever tank, it is so fulfilling that,
yeah,
like Bina was saying, it's almost like those other people never had the impact that they had because you guys just overflow with what has been needed in my life all along. You know,
Yeah.
my biggest regret is that it took all these years for it to happen. But
Yes.
at the same time,
Timing.
you know, now that it has happened, I'm just like, thank God, because you ladies you are significantly part of my healing journey. You know, I remember when my therapist, she did attachment style testing on me. If you guys remember that scenario,
Yeah.
it was initially based on my parents, and it was a horrible result that I got. and then she was like, you know what? You have these ladies that you're connected to. You talk about them all the time. When you answer these questions, use the ladies as, you know, mom and dad, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the result that I got was like such a healthy result because you guys just naturally pour into me. And this is what it means that we have to connect with people that have the capacity, because it's nothing, you're not doing anything outside of who you are. You're naturally being who you are. Who you naturally are is connecting with who I naturally am. And it's allowing us both to feel that we can be vulnerable, we can be us, we can cry, we can do all the things. Or you could just come on the phone and say hello, and your hello sound off, and we know that something's up, and we're like, no, talk.
Right.
Let us know what's
going
on.
There's been many a times I'll be like, no, I'm okay. And they'd be like, that's bull. Next thing I'll be like, okay. But yeah, she's right. We definitely, you know, can I say something though? But even though we all known each other it seems like we've known each other a lifetime, and it was COVID that kept us separated. Is it just me that feels that way? Because as we started to grow, it just really feels like that. When did, you know, I think one of my other friends, they was like, were they in elementary school with us? And I was like, yeah, no. I was like, wait, what? No. You know, because that's how it seemed. Because he was like, how long have you known them? And I was like, but quite a while. Oh, actually, not that long. But that's how it feels. Like it just, you know, it's growing so naturally, and it's becoming more of a bond where we can text in our group chat, or we text directly, like, you know, hey, I need a prayer, I can't sleep, or like just little things that we do. And I know for a fact we'll all get up in the middle of the night with sleep in our eyes and be like looking in the scriptures, like, okay,
5 a.m.
Yeah, like, and just we get it done. But yeah, Fiona's right. Like, it wasn't what has helped me really come, like, really be myself with each and every one of you on this live, is that I have been able, like, Bernie has helped me look at myself in the mirror again. I've learned to really appreciate myself.
Oh no!
What just happened?
It's cutting out. Yeah.
Oh,
wait, you still there?
There you go.
Are you there?
You're there. You're here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, are you frozen?
Yeah, she's frozen.
Oh, these silly computers.
Well, while she comes back, wait, is she coming back? While she comes back, there is a couple. Are you back?
Can you hear me now? I don't think so.
Yeah, it looks like, okay. So there's a couple of comments that I wanted to highlight, because I really feel like some of this is really important. Certain situations or certain experiences can crush your spirit. And I feel like that is something that a lot of times we don't even really give ourselves permission to grieve, you know? I feel like for me personally, I have always been of this belief that I can't really give myself room to like mourn the loss of a relationship or a friendship or something. And for years, I would literally just, okay, yeah, something happened. I'm no longer friends with this person, or I am no longer in relationship with this person. I'm just going to move on without processing how I feel, without, um, even giving myself permission to ask some questions about, like, whether or not I feel a certain way about this, or why might this have happened, or what may I have contributed to this, or whatever, And it's like, I feel like a lot of times people who have like experienced relational trauma, like on a consistent and repeated basis, have built up a response of just like, okay, we're just going to, whatever. Dina, I think something that you're doing is causing feedback. Yeah. So,
that's a good
just
point.
build up a response, and this, like, this tolerance of, okay, yes, I have been hurt in this relationship, and I didn't experience what I wanted to experience, but I'm just going to move on and try to find something elsewhere. And the finding something elsewhere without really discussing with myself and sitting with myself to figure out, like, well, how did I feel about what I did experience, and like, what may have caused the demise of this relationship, or what is it that I have contributed to this, or what do I continue to do for this result to be the thing that I'm always experiencing. I feel like a lot of times we don't do that a lot. And so one of the things in my book that I really talked about, and I laid this out very heavily, is called a relationship autopsy. And I feel like it is imperative for people, especially women who have experienced relational traumas, to understand, what the patterns are in your relationships and in your behavior, and in the partners that you're attracting, whether it is friendships or romantic partners. Because without us understanding what these patterns are, we can't change the behavior, and we cannot have the kinds of experiences that we say that we desire. We're just going to continue to have the same kind of experiences. We're going to continue to attract people who may be like feeding on the worst parts of ourselves. Nina, you spoke about you being a people pleaser before, and, like, you trusting people even though they may not have earned that trust yet. And a lot of that has to do with like us not understanding what our patterns are and what our deepest desires are. If we took some time, in self-reflection to really understand like what it is that we're looking for in relationships, and what do we think this person who we want to partner with, whether it's friendship or romantic, is going to do for that deep desire that we have, then we can really start to call out, okay, well, if it is that I really am looking for somebody to support me, if it is that I feel like I'm not really being seen authentically, if I feel like in my relationships, every time I open up my mouth to say something about how I feel, I'm being shut down, or, somebody is trying to play off how I feel or whatever it is, then these are the things that our deepest desires are telling us that we need. And if we see anything that even remotely resembles what that could look like in relationships, sometimes we jump on it without even really vetting the person properly. And so I just feel like a lot of us really we don't really have a vetting process. And that is why I created the relationship autopsy, just for us to really understand what our patterns are in relationships, and how that actually then plays out to what we experience. But then the other thing is that I feel like a lot of us sometimes don't even really know what kinds of friends that we need, or the fact that we need different kinds of friends for different seasons of our life. Like people, that has been an absolute game changer for me. My coalition is my coalition. Okay, like I have people in my coalition who I have known from like I was 5-year-olds, and then I have my day twos, like Dina. Okay. Like Dina is a day two. I have some day twos out there, and I have some day ones that have known me since I was like, in kindergarten, and they know all the tea about what's going on. But my day twos are the people who I attracted after I went through my healing journey. And so those friendships that I attracted after I went through my healing journey, those are the friendships that now pour into me in a way that like makes me feel like I can continue to show up authentically, continue to be the woman that I envision myself to be. They celebrate my wins, and they're not sitting up here trying to compare who I am now and how I'm showing up to what I used to do when I was 18 or 19. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you know, you have those
like, I'm not that same person. I'm
like,
not
you brand new now, girl.
Exactly. Like, let me reintroduce myself to you because you don't know who this Bernadette is anymore. And so, like, when I come in contact with some of these people, and sometimes they're family members who, you know, like are still holding me to what I used to show up as before I went through healing, or before I understood things about myself, before I started to be authentic or whatever it is, like they still respond to who I used to be. And it's like, okay, like, can you see that is not how I'm showing up anymore? Like, why can't you like actually meet me where I am now? And so, like, asking that question of myself, I had to really realize that some of these people don't have the capacity to hold who I have become. They just don't. They don't have the capacity for that. And because they don't have the capacity for that, I have to keep them in a box somewhere. They can't be someone who has access to me all the time. You know, like and sometimes, you know, as much as I would love to bring my day ones or like my family members and stuff like that with me everywhere that I'm going, I realize that I can't, because in this season of my life where I'm trying to do bigger things, where I am trying to, you know, act in obedience to what God has called me to do, to where I'm trying to show up authentically everywhere, I cannot be in close connection with people who are going to either trigger responses from me that my brain automatically remembers and that I have worked very hard to override. I can't be in close connection with and have people have access to me who cannot see who I have become and respect that. I can't be in connection with people who are trying to, you know, remind me of past versions of myself every time they see me move forward somewhere. I can't do that because it is not productive. It is not going to help me at all in what I'm trying to do. And it is much easier for me to be the person that I used to be than the person who I'm trying to show up as today.
Right.
Like, I mean, let's just be real. It's so much easier for you to be old versions of yourself because you've lived with that version of yourself for so long. You know how to do that well without thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. The wrong situation can bring me right on back to who I was 10 years ago. You don't want to meet that Bernadette. You
No,
don't.
not at all.
Okay? You
That's
don't want to meet
Bernadette from New York. Or which one we talking about?
Listen, okay, because it depends on what the situation is. You very well may get yard gal, or you may get nice.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, you know, you might get like Brooklyn Hood. You don't want that either. You don't.
You don't want none of it. None of it.
So it's like, you know, you have to be so careful about who you allow to have access to you, especially when you're going through a healing journey and when you have decided that you are going to be somebody different than what you are showing up as. I feel like all of you here have had, you know, a come into Jesus moment is what I call it, where you're like, you know, you have a reckoning with yourself, like, okay, like I cannot continue to have these kinds of experiences with people. I cannot continue to show up the way I've been showing up because this does not represent who I want to be or what I want to experience. And I feel like just based on like, you know, everything that I heard you ladies say as you guys were talking is that you all met each other when you were on your healing journeys.
Yeah.
Every last one of you met each other on your healing journey. You were already working towards the women that you wanted to be. And in working towards that, right? And being actively intentional about the fact that I want to experience something new. And because I know this, and this is a deep desire of mine, I'm going to start doing things differently. I'm going to start showing up differently. I'm going to start experimenting with my behavior because that's essentially what you guys were doing. You know, like you're talking about, I decided I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm not going to try to play this superwoman, this strong friend all the time. I'm going to say, I need help. I need prayer. This is what I need, and all of that. And that attracted the people to you that God wanted you to be in connection with.
Amen to that.
And
Absolutely.
so, yeah,
And
and
I
so
would say
like,
that sorry to cut you off like that. It's funny because I said earlier that I felt that I didn't have many friends prior to meeting this lady, and that was far from the truth. And during that time period, I prayed. I did pray for it. I prayed for friends. I prayed for friends. And I think it's because I couldn't be vulnerable and share all the things that I was going through with others because I didn't feel that they would understand or that they had the capacity to understand, or like I said before, that I would be judged. And then after he blessed me with these ladies, I'm like, oh, wow, like my circle is truly strong.
right.
And then I was able to just cherish the relationships that I have with them and those that I have with others as well. And it helped me to also be a better friend because I didn't want to be that person that wasn't trustworthy or didn't trust people. That's what I was taught growing up. That's not how you live, right? And
Right.
that's not how you are able to evolve within your friendships. It wasn't
And
what
it's also not natural. That's the thing. It's not natural. Like
Exactly.
naturally, we are meant to be in community with other people.
I didn't
You know?
know. We didn't need anybody.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and the thing is like, you know, the thought that you don't need people is a trauma response to what you experienced. It's because you had experiences where you needed something from your caregivers when you were younger and it wasn't met. And because it wasn't met, your brain said, okay, when I need something, I realize that the people who are supposed to help me with this, whether it is love, connection, support, whatever it is, are not going to give that to me. So I'm going to let my brain know we don't need this anymore because you can't continue to survive if you always have this need for something and it is constantly not met. What's going to happen is that you are going to emotionally die. And your brain is wired to protect you. It's wired to make sure that you survive. And even if that means that you have to deny yourself or even trick yourself into believing that you don't need certain things, that is exactly what's going to happen.
Or that
And I
you
think
don't
that
have
every last one of us on this call did that.
Yeah.
And then thoughts like that and behaviors like that contributes to mental health disorders.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you end up with anxiety, you end up with depression. Because again, like you said, Bernadette, it's not natural. That's not how we were created to be. Just, you know, humans are just like other animals on the planet where we are created to be in community, in packs, or whatever the case may be. We are created to support one another, help each other with whatever skill you don't have, I may have. So we work together and partner, we reach the goal. And so many times in our lives, we had told ourselves otherwise, and we worked ourselves to death trying to achieve a goal because we believing that we can't trust our colleague, we can't trust this person, or whatever the case may be. But, you know, this group is like my sober group, my iron sharpened iron, you know, all the stuff that I'm trying to shed and all the stuff I'm trying to put on. These ladies hold me very much accountable, and, you know, they see me and they see through me, so they can speak to all the things that, you know, whether I'm saying something and it just doesn't sound right and I need to correct myself, or I'm doing a behavior that I need to shift so I could get the result that I told them I wanted. They hold me accountable to all of that. So and I know we all do this. We all have our moments where we break down in tears and say we are just so grateful for one another because of whatever moment we're going through at a point in time. I'm like, if I didn't have you three ladies to disclose whatever to, you know, even at times, you know, it's been that times, you know, where one of us I remember in the month of November, this is very recent, like I was having a horrible November. It was a very difficult month for me. And if I didn't get, you know, to speak to you ladies and my therapist, I mean, I don't know, honestly, if I would still be here sitting on this couch today. So that's how significant and important this relationship means to me, because, you know, if people think of all the people that we lose every day, and you start to wonder, do they have anybody in their life like this really hold them up. And, you know, like Bina said earlier, we could put one word in our group chat, and then we all see it, and we all, again, are responding, whether we got to make the phone call, the prayer, or whatever. We're showing up because we know that person is having a very difficult moment. And it's one of those moments that, you know, it could go real left if an intervention don't occur. I mean, the biggest downside to our friendship is we're all in different places, and now I'm about to be in a whole different country. So that's the biggest downside to it. But the beauty of it is that technology still brings us very close together, and it helps us to be able to be there for each other, even when we have those very difficult moments.
I love that. I love that. And before you start with anything, Bina, I just wanted to address this question really quickly. So we have a question here from Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Do you feel that your healing triggers the stagnant friend? And I feel like my mom answered this question in the comments by saying a lot of folks want the old version of you and not the healed version of you, because the healed version may inform them that they too might need healing and everyone isn't ready to be healed. And I feel like that is really, really where it's at, because sometimes, you know, you start to show up differently and you start to shine a light on, you know, what people are not doing or what they have tried to ignore or what they are, you know, like actively running away from and stuff like that. And these people are now upset that you have turned into a version of yourself that they no longer relate to, because both of you guys may have even been feeding off of each other in terms of trauma bonds and all kinds of things. So I really believe that a lot of us, you know, have friendships that really were feeding our trauma responses, we're feeding on our most vulnerable parts without us knowing it. And now that we are aware of what these things are, we're aware of, like, you know, the different ways and the healthier ways that we can address some of the desires that we have without like bending over backwards or doing all of these things, people pleasing and the like. We are now showing up differently in these spaces. A lot of people won't be able to handle that. So Bean, I know that you were going to say something. I want to give you the floor if you wanted to add to the conversation. You're muted though. Yeah, still can't hear you.
No.
The devil is a liar.
Yeah.
He always trying to act.
Okay, but as she's getting it together, there was a comment that I saw on the internet that I thought was really, really important for this conversation, because I feel like it is a context that a lot of us don't think about. And so this pastor, her name is Real Talk Kim, she said, sometimes not yet is God's not with those people. And when I heard that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but
that is so
that resonates.
So
yes, it does.
You know, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience, but I experienced this within the last like year and a half, where certain people left my life, and immediately what God had said, the promises that he had told me years ago started happening in rapid succession. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Because it's like sometimes we are attached to people who are holding us back, and we don't realize that these friendships are the reason why we do not have the blessings that we were promised.
The friendships, the marriages, all the things, they block us sometimes.
All of the things. So I'm going to repeat the comment for somebody who was asking. So the comment is, or the quote is, that sometimes God's not yet is really him saying, not with those people. Right? And so it's like we have to be so careful about who we actually have in our coalition. And this is why this conversation is important, because the people who you have around you are going to be the people who really inform where you go, how you get there, and what you experience along the way. And if we are wanting to be intentional about what those three things are, then we have to be so careful about the people that we have in our circles, especially when we are at a position where we are trying to, step things up. We are trying to, move in obedience. There are, things that the Lord has called us to do. And we know that these are things that we actually are about to do. We got to start taking an inventory about who is actually around us and why are these people here and what are they offering to our lives and how are they making us feel and all of these things, because it's really important. Bina, are you with us?
Absolutely.
Can't he? Oh man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But one of the things that I wanted to leave us with, and then I'm going to give us all an opportunity to say one final thing. But the thing that I wanted to leave us with is that what I have come to know about relationships for me personally, and these are things that I also speak about with clients and stuff like that, is that you need four types of friends. Four types of friends in your life. And the first one is the advisor, and then there is the authenticator, and then there is the anchor, and then there is the altruist. And so for me, an advisor is somebody who has been where I've been, who knows what I'm going through, and who can show me my blind spots and let me know, hey, you don't want to go over here, you want to do something different, and it's really start to help me think differently about a situation that I'm in the midst of. And then there's the authenticator for me. And that is somebody who helps me to vet the people who are coming into my life according to what I said that I wanted to experience and according to the woman that I said that I wanted to be, and not what has been familiar all this time, because it's so easy for us to have relationships with people who are familiar to us because we know how to do that. We know how to engage with those people. We know what that relationship is going to be like. Even if it ends, we know exactly the steps from 1 to 10 about what it's going to be like to be with that person. And a lot of times we do that because it's safe. We know the ending. We don't got to worry about whether or not this is going to end badly or not. We know, but we will do it because we have the steps in our mind, right? Like, let's just keep it 100. It's crazy. But then there's also the anchor for me. And this is someone who I can process my deep feelings with, and someone who is unbiased and who has a perspective about what's going on, who also understands what my triggers are. And then the last one is the altruist. And for me, an altruist is someone who will sit with me at my lowest lows, but also celebrate my highest highs. And they are absolutely concerned about my well-being. So they're my person, they're my shoulder, they're the person who cheers for me. And so those four people are who I look for in friendships with people. And even though I don't say that to the friends that I have, I know who those people are to me, Right. And so it's like, those kinds of friendships have been important for every season of my life. And sometimes, when I'm going into something new, like I am now, I'm going to need to be leaning on my advisor and my authenticator very heavily, because it's like I'm about to do a new thing. And I cannot have people coming into my life right now that might derail what it is I want to do. So I need for somebody else to be on the lookout to help, who has their head on the swivel, to be able to say, not that one, not her, not him, not there, because I know that you're thinking that this is where you want to go because this is what's been familiar, but I know that that's not what you said you wanted. And so if you really want XYZ, then I'm gonna need you to go over here, even though that path is unfamiliar. So it's like
the beauty in that, Bernadette, is the fact that not just knowing who each person is, but you're being able to honor that role in your life. Because how many times have we had those people in our lives, that person that would come to us and say, oh girl, not him, not her, whatever, and we just don't listen. The beauty part of it is you honoring their role in your life.
That makes sense.
So that's what really makes the difference in those kind of relationships.
Absolutely. And that comes with trust. It comes with trust. It comes with time. And it comes with this person really over time letting me know through action and through their words that this is who they are. This is who they will always be. Because that's what it has had to be for me. I've had to trust the evidence of what people are showing me time and time again. Like, what is the pattern of their relationship with me showing me? Is it showing me that this is someone that I can count on, that I can trust on, whose counsel is wise, who, has never given me any kind of criticism that wasn't constructive, things of that nature? Because there are people who you will be able to see from the fruit of their lives who they need to be in your life. Because that's the other thing, like, as a God girl, I'm thinking about, well, what is the fruit of your life telling me? Because if the fruit of your life is telling me that you don't have the authority to be speaking into my life, please know that you will not. You will not.
Yeah.
Like, it just can't be. And so, those four people for me have been really beneficial just in every stage. And I didn't even realize at the time that they're people in my life who naturally fell into that. But as I went through my healing journey, as I started to take clients, as I wrote this book, I realized that these themes started to appear. And I was like, man, I didn't realize that I had already an advisor, an authenticator, anchor, and an altruist already in my life. And like what that has meant for me in my friendship. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you guys were ever wondering like what my vetting process is and what it is that I look for in women that I consider to be a part of my coalition, and men, because I don't want to act like I don't have any male friends. I do.
Right.
I have some brothers who really hold it down and whatnot as well. So that's my process. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to share anything that you may want to share about your coalition, whether it is about the friendship that you had, what you had to change about yourself, or what you look for in friendships that has really led you to this group of women that you so love. And it's so apparent that you guys are so connected.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Because I'm ready to stomp on this devil's
Go ahead.
neck
You're
right now.
going to end the show for everybody because you got a lot to say.
No, I don't actually. No, I was going to say, I don't know if I have a vetting process because I'm one that likes to just let things happen organically and let it flow naturally, because to me, that's where you find the genuine and pureness of somebody's heart. So I think, I don't know if it's because of the fact that I had a trust thing and I was afraid to trust people. And having great people in my life now I know I can pour into. I just wish I was able to pour the way I poured into the wrong people but that's done. I'm pouring in a new way. You know what I'm saying? They've taught me how to grow as a friend, how to be a better friend to them. So my vetting process, I think it's just, I think it's simple. If I'm able to be silly and be myself and just really show everything that I love, like all of you know how much I love graffiti, y'all know how much I love shoes, how much I love art, period. Like, it's insane. And when I'm able to share that part of my heart with each and every one of you, I think, and feel very comfortable like that, like, that's my vetting process. That's why I'm like, oh, good. I can say something silly and they can look at me like, what? But it's just, my vetting is just things to flow naturally and organically.
I think for me, when it comes to my vetting process, is I definitely look for people who can advise me. Some of what I missed growing up is that nurturance, guidance, and protection. So I do look for people that do offer that nurturing, in which all these ladies have that. I do look for people who can guide me on different things, because sometimes, because I didn't get a lot of guidance, I second guess decisions and I may take too long to make a decision because I'm just reviewing all the information. So someone who is again further along who could offer that guidance, their expertise, even whether I go their way or not, but at least they have something to offer that I could consider and say, okay, I can see where you're going and I see why you did that, whatever. Protection, feeling safe is extremely important to me. And that goes to what Bina said about the organic nature of something. Like if I'm in your presence and something in me, is just off, it just doesn't feel right, my stomach isn't settled. I mean, obviously I'm going to evaluate what that is. Is it a reminder of somebody in my past, or is it something that you're actually doing right now that's triggering something in me? So I do ask myself those questions, and I also, take note of my response when I'm in the presence of somebody. I might be in my true self. And part of my true self is I am a very deep person, right?
Yeah.
I can joke and act silly and do all the things, but I'm also a very deep person. The way I see the world is very different than a lot of people see the world. So my heart will get heavy, even on this recent trip I went on, I came back with my heart feeling very heavy, whereas friends of mine are like, oh, we had a great time. And I'm like, there's stuff there that needs to be worked on. So I'm a very deep person, and I know I need to be in community with people who can accept my deepness. Most people have, in the past have always told me, you're just too deep. It's just fine. You can't handle me, but the world needs people like me, because people like me is who seek to change the world to make it better, and I need to be in community with people who could accept that, so they can help me then formulate, okay, what is my plan of action to address that thing that's hurting my heart so much?
Right.
So when it comes to my vetting process, is all of that. And the other thing that I also look for is someone that's going to be brutally honest with me, but in love. Even
in a
though
loving way.
I'm a sensitive girl. So I'm like, I need you.
Are you?
So, and it's funny because the person who does that the most is, I call him my big brother. He's my daughter's godfather. And from the time he met me, he's a jokester. He comes with all the laugh. But when I tell you he is brutally honest, I don't care what the situation is. He's going to let your girl know, and your girl going to have to come correct. Because as we developed our friendship, he would say, you're an extension of me. You're my little sister. You're not going to be going out here looking sideways or talking sideways or doing whatever. I know you are better than this. So to have that in my life, it helped me to shape, again, like you said earlier, Bernadette, being the person I said I want to be, because I'm talking all this good stuff, saying this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. I'm a conqueror of the world. Well, this is what you need to look like to conquer the world, or whatever. And he holds me to that. So having all those people in my life is what, again, like I said earlier, fills my tank. And it honestly makes me feel like I could go out there and do anything. And which is really important, because for all of us, there's purpose on our lives. And when we have these, community with the right people, imposter syndrome is nothing. All that past story we've been telling ourselves is nothing. We really feel like and will push past all those things, because we know that we have these people that are pouring into us in the right way.
I like what you said there. And just so that, you guys maybe have a different word for this, who you described as your big brother, Fiona, is what I like to call a loving critic. And a loving critic is someone who, understands who you are, knows who you want to be, and will let you know in love, like some of the things, especially the areas that you may not realize might be a blind spot, or you might be showing up in a way that, you don't realize you're showing up. Those people are your loving critics. And I feel like a lot of us, think that that we should ask anybody for advice about who we are. You know what I mean? And I know I used to do this a lot, where it's like, I might just go up to any old person who knows me and say, hey, like, I'm trying to work on this thing. What do you think? And not everyone is a loving critic. Not everyone has your best interests at heart. Some people really just want to do things and say things that may hurt you or may put you in your place or whatever it is. And so those people are not the people who you go to when you need like wise counsel, or when you want somebody to really tell you the brutal honesty, like you said, about like how you may be showing up in a space. So, you know, just for us to have, you know, just some continuity around terms and stuff like that, your loving critic is definitely someone who you should be having in your circle as well. So Nina or Bina, no, I'm sorry, Nina or Tashai, if you guys want to let us know what your vetting process is.
And I haven't defined mine yet either, but I can say that my vetting process, if I'm vetting in the future, you know, would be someone that I know truly supports me. And they're an encourager like myself. I love to encourage people. And, you know, I want to be encouraged as well. And it took me a long time to be able to ask for help and to learn how to receive. Like I'm just now learning over the last year, like how to receive from my friends, because that was not always easy. So just someone who, you know, I know can pour into me, and, you know, I can do the same for them as well. And for the friends that I do have now, the group of friends, including these ladies, I feel that I love to be in a relationship where I know that we may not need each other every day, and we may have our seasons for one another as well. And I'm thinking about one friend in particular, who we don't talk every single day. But right now, if I were to reach out to her and we were to catch up and I tell her some things, like, she is extremely supportive. She will tell me, you know, oh my gosh, I love how much you have grown, because I remember this. I remember when you didn't like people. I remember when, you know, you were negative. Like, she will pull my card and tell me everything that she remembers about me, but at the same time, praise how God is good, and talk about the growth that she sees in me as well. So it feels good to know that, you know, I have friends that we do communicate more, sometimes within seasons, but at the end of the day, it's always like we never missed a beat with one another. And, you know, there are those who I look up to as a mentor, and as that, just that, they say you always need people in your life that is smarter than you, more intelligent than you, because they are the ones that can help you see things in a different light, and you know, just push yourself further in life to be where you want to be and to shine. And I have someone in my life like that as well, that I know that after I go through all of my craziness or whatever it is that's going on, that I can go to that person and it's just going to be the reality of it all, like in 2 seconds. And that's so I have many different relationships. And again, I'm appreciative to say that now, because I couldn't say it before. But to know that I have so many different groups, even such as friends at work, even though not there anymore, and we're in our different places. But I have 2 really, truly good friends that we pour into each other all the time as well. And I was that person. Like, don't even talk to me when I come into work. I'm going to close my door. I don't want anybody saying anything. No, I don't want you to be my friend. Don't ask me about my business.
Okay. Why y'all talk so much?
Yes, I pour into each other now, and it's just amazing. So I am thankful that I can receive, and that's what I want to do in my future relationships, because I do want to get out there, network, and meet new people and have additional friendships. And although I know that there will be different levels to it, I want to be able to ensure that we can pour into each other. That's going to be the most important thing for me, and that they encourage me, you know, overall to be a better person.
That's awesome.
So for me, I don't necessarily have a vetting process. I love what you said, Bernadette, about having these different type of people in your life to speak to different, you know, things for you. So I think I'm building that in this season of my life. And it's something that's really interesting that you say, like, what's needed. A lot of the things that I've done, I've run through my husband. He's a vet. he'll vet you out in a minute. And I mean,
That's my brother. Yeah.
my spirit discerns spirits. So I know when it's not for me. So I do have that, but I do give people a little bit more time than I should in my life. And so learning how to, take that. Yeah, take that. But I also realized about me is that I'm very quick to just be done. And like you said before, you not grieving the friendship, or sometimes it's just like it is what it is. It's a season, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And I've had to go back to a friend after about 4 or 5 years, and I reached back out and just was like, what exactly happened? Because I was one of those, like, if it's over, whatever. But I genuinely had to ask myself, what happened? Like, what did you think I did, or what exactly happened? And we rebuilt a friendship after that. But I used to be like, whatever. And I was like, if I've given you multiple chances, or I felt like it's not serving me, I'm willing to let it go. And it was something, you said that you in November. So I was self-sabotaging. They know.
In November.
In October, November, December. But I was like, so a lot of the times, the group chat, like when they put something in the group chat, I might get to it, and I'll always come back in there and I'll be like, okay, I'm catching up. But I realized that she said something. We was on a call a couple weeks ago, and I had to apologize to her. And I was like, because I didn't show up when I felt like when she was in her season. Like, so learning how to be more vigilant when other people are going through something, because I'm so used to not connecting. So it's one of those things, like, I will miss if you're going through something, because it's like I'm going through something too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to learn how to still stay connected, even when I'm going through whatever I'm going through. So,
but also give yourself grace also, because you were going through also.
Yeah.
And if you're down, you have nothing to pour into anybody else.
Yeah, but I was like, how did I miss that? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you just disconnect, and you like, I'm going through whatever I'm going through, and it's like whatever. So I'm learning how to just understand who I am as a friend, like you said earlier.
Yeah. But I think. I'm sorry, sis.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like what Fifi was saying, we do give each other we give each other grace. Because when it's like when one of us gets hit, when we're going through warfare, out of the 4 of us, either all of us are going through it, 3 of us, 2.
Yeah.
But I think October, November, we were all going through it. Like, we were all going through it. And we were doing the best of being there for one another, giving each other grace, but also like trying to figure out what is happening. We just went in when we were all going through a spiritual warfare or whatever it is. The best thing we could do for one another during those 2 months, during that time last year, was just throw in the prayers, like just
exactly.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah. Bernadette, I was ready to show up at their houses.
I bet you were. I bet you were.
She really was.
Because I know a couple of y'all really well, and I know y'all would pull up.
Why am I not hearing from you? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's time. You need to speak now.
Yeah. Nina, are you there? Where are you?
Where are you? Yeah. Like, where are you?
You guys are funny.
Fia get out the group chat and hit the text message. Like,
exactly. It's like, okay, we obviously
that's what you have to do.
So I'm just going to message you directly.
Yeah, you have to do that sometimes. Like, as friends, like when you are a part of a coalition, the thing that you do is like you go and find your friends when they're in their dark places, and you pull them out into the light. Okay, like
and
you pull
so
them out.
Significant with us,
right?
Because we're all introverts. We're
Right.
all
Yeah.
strong women. We've all been, learned at a period in our life to lean only on ourselves. So when we're going through, I mean, Tasha gets on me all the time because I had to explain to her that part of my process in the initial phase is I do get quiet and I process everything I'm going through and I try to think of solutions. But for her, she was like, "No, you're getting too quiet. This is not who you naturally are. So I need to hear what's going on, and I need to hear that you're okay." And I appreciate that because I'm not used to anybody saying that to me.
Yeah.
So that's something
that. Yeah.
I had to adjust to. That it's somebody that's genuinely concerned and they really want to know. Hey, I understand you're going through a process, but is everything okay? Do you need help? And I'm not used to people just jumping in it like that because people are used to me getting quiet at moments and they just let me be. And if it wasn't for her during the month of November, reaching out like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you. This is not like you, whatever. You're not responding to stuff." They wouldn't have known that I was kind of spiraling during that month. I was really having a tough time medically. And, some of my other friends kind of got mad at me because they're like, "Oh, you just disappearing." And they had attitude. And I'm like, I had a horrible month. And if maybe you had reached out, you would have known.
Exactly.
You didn't, and now you coming at me with attitude. And I'm just like, well, let's look, like you stated earlier, let the resume speak for itself. In history, have I been this kind of person? And blah, blah, blah.
Right.
To refute everything they were saying. But I'm like, that's the difference with somebody seeing you and knowing you and knowing who you are naturally and knowing who you are when you're going through something so they could show up for you and not accuse you of things that are not of your character at all.
Yeah, that's untrue. Yeah, that's really untrue.
So, again,
and I think
and how long, like Dina was saying, how long have we known each other, but yet we know each other?
Yeah. Look, I can't even say that I've seen each of you 20 times. Can I say 10 times? No,
not even
in person.
What happened?
Nina, I only seen Nina once. Bina and Nina haven't even met in person yet.
I haven't met Nina in person yet.
We haven't met yet. We're overdue, Nina.
And we don't plan 3 trips, so I don't know.
Oh, wait.
I know, right?
We don't plan like we've been planning trips. Like mentally, we've been seeing each other, but being that our sis is going home, that's a trip we all definitely.
We coming.
That's a mandatory.
Y'all better come through.
Yeah.
Well, what it sounds like to me is that your trips have not yet made it out the group chat, but I really hope that they do in 2024. I hope that they make it out the group chat in 2024.
Yes.
And just to tie everything up in a nice, neat bow rather, what I have heard each of you say in terms of like what your vetting process is, even though you guys are saying that you don't have a vetting process, what I'm hearing from you is that your vetting process is that you are attracted to friendships where your heart and your soul feel at home. That's what I heard you guys say.
Yeah.
When your body feels naturally welcomed and you feel at home and you feel relaxed, that's when you know you have found someone that you can actually start to build a connection with. That's what I'm hearing that you guys are saying. So even though you think you don't have a process, you think you don't have a vetting process, you do. You do. You just haven't been able to put words to it yet. So I just wanted to give you guys that because each of you said that in your own way. That feeling at home in your body, in your mind, in your soul is really what you are most drawn to in friendship. So just letting you guys know that. Thank you guys so much for being on this live with me. It was a really great conversation just to be kind of like in the mix of what conversations are like between you ladies of the Tea Talks. This has been a really great experience. Thank you guys again for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. And this is the last conversation, like I said, in this 4-part series that was related to my book, Daughter Heal, a call for fatherless daughters to take a new look at old wounds. So I'm so happy that we were able to do this. All of the people who have contributed to this series have been really great. The conversations have been amazing. 2 of them are on IG Live and 2 of them are now on my YouTube page. And we are going to be capping things off with my book launch and fundraising party that's going to be on January 15th. So I am
Yes.
excited about that. I'm going to be seeing some of you there. So I'm excited about that as well. And, I've gotten some support from some other ones. So thank you guys for the love, for the support, for showing up for me in this way. And just for just championing my wins, it's
Yeah.
really important for me to be surrounded by people who actually, celebrate when I make an accomplishment, because that's not always been what I've experienced. So like being able to experience this now, as I made the decision to start showing up authentically, is something that really is just a testament that I'm doing the right thing. So thank you guys for joining us in this conversation tonight. You have seen a glimpse into what it is like to really have a coalition that supports you, that loves you, that sees who you are, and that encourages you to be who you said you wanted to be and experience what you want to experience. And this is what I want for all of you. So if you are not experiencing that yet, then you need to be getting my book. And you need to be taking a hard look at the people who make you feel most at home, because those people should be a part of your coalition. Have a good night, everyone, and I will see you on the
Good
end one.
night.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank
Love you,
Good
lady.
night.
Love you too.